We're all good. I love Wednesdays, not just because it's halfway to the weekend, but because I get to see you all. And for those of you who show up, you just make my day because it's so much fun when there's somebody here to talk to. And for those of you who are catching this on the replay, I hope you're having a great day. And I hope you get something out of this. Thank you. It's so good to see you. Yay. Awesome. So today we are continuing as we venture into our next chapter. And today I titled the session Courage to Meet Yourself Again, Small Steps Towards Your Next Chapter. And I think I've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm of the belief that small steps are what make the most efficient and long-lasting changes. Big steps, you know, can feel a little daunting. Sometimes people don't get started. So when we talk about courage, again, it's relative to what being courageous means to you. Um, I am not going to be talking about like the big dramatic movie or the big explosion or, whatever that happens to be, dramatic movie scene type of courage. I'm just talking about the quiet courage. So
I will
it's the courage that maybe you don't know what's going on in this chapter, this season of your life. Maybe it's acknowledging, taking the courage to go, I miss being needed. My life is good, and so I don't feel like it's good. And you know what? You're going to get information from people who are, you've got all this free time now. What's going on? Everything should be fine. And it's a transition. That's what this is. It is a transition. So before we dive in too far, drop in the chat or drop in the comments when I say the word courage, so how does courage feel to you today? Just wherever you are, no right or wrong. Is it exciting? Is it scary? Is it pensive, far, far away, something you're facing and ready to take on? If you have just one word for how does courage feel to you right now? Okay, and as we go through this, I encourage you also to remember to break out a journal. I like paper and pen. You can do it on your laptop or on your notes, phone notes along the way, whatever works for you. In case something elusive courage. Oh, I like that word, elusive. That can be kind of intriguing. The elusive little creature, or that can be kind of daunting. Interesting. I love that word. Very cool. Thank you. So last week we talked about navigating when the rhythm of our connection, most often with our children, but it can be in any relationship, shifts. And I asked you to look at what stories do we tell ourselves, rather than looking at, what happened. The call wasn't returned. What's the story or the meaning? What did we make it? Oh, they don't like me anymore. They're too busy. I don't matter to them. They don't love me, whatever the stories are. And then we looked at what possibly we could really do differently and change that meaning. Today, I want to start normalizing this identity shift as we move into this next chapter. And it really is a shift in our identity. That means how I view myself, how I show up in the day, how I interact with others is my identity. And so often our identity gets melded into the roles that we play. So we can play the role of a mom or a dad, a parent, a grandparent, a coworker, a supervisor, a manager, a community member, a neighbor. Those are roles that we play, and you take actions and interact with people generally related to those roles. Your identity is this inside, this thing that you are all the time. And I've been working on, figuring out what my identity is because I'm kind of shedding some of that external, well, people thinks I should be this way, or people expect me to be this way, and reconnecting to what's true to me. And like I just mentioned, you may have friends or family that Now you've got all this time. You're not running the kids to baseball or drama class or speech or wherever it happens to be. Maybe you're approaching retirement or just jumped into retirement. That's another identity shift. You got all this free time. What are you doing to fill your free time? And it sometimes doesn't feel like freedom. Sometimes when you have more time, those questions, those feelings start to surface. So raise your hand virtually in the chat or even just to yourself. How many times do you avoid the silence? So make sure I'm always scrolling on my phone or I'm listening to a podcast while I go walking or I'm watching the TV because if I just sat in silence, what would I feel? What questions? Thank you, Heather, for the raised hand. What would I be questioning? Am I supposed to have this all figured out? I know I should be grateful. Well, and I am grateful, but there's something kind of missing. I don't know. I'm going back to, let me see if I can do this. Sharing my screen for a second here. Okay, so I want to talk about where 5 reasons that people often stay stuck in this space of not moving forward. And often we can think, I should already have this all figured out. I should know what I want. But I want to remind us, we're going to go back and forth, time jumping. That's what we're going to do in this group for a while. Did you know what you wanted to do when you graduated from high school or before you went into college? Kinda. That was a chapter. Did you know what you wanted to do when you chose your first job? Did it turn out like you expected? I think I maybe shared that my first job out of college was for a manager and a department that I did not interview with, yet they offered me a job. I thought I knew what I wanted. And I thought, oh, well, we'll see where this goes. Did you know what you wanted when you got married, before you had kids? So we don't have to know everything and have it all figured out. That's the beauty. We're here together. We're going to take these baby steps and we're going to figure it out. A second reason that people can get stuck in this, I know I want something more. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, is that you can feel guilty. I have felt guilty. I still do on occasion for wanting something that's just for me. And I was born into a family, loving, caring family that, be happy with what you have. We have enough. You don't need anything more. And I turned that message into something personal for me, meaning I don't need anything more. Connie, just in and of herself. And it's okay to want something just for you. Whatever that is, nobody has to understand, nobody has to get it. I believe, as long as you're not hurting anybody or yourself, you can have whatever you want and it can be fun. The third reason is we stay busy so we don't have to feel that uncertainty. I already mentioned that one before. That was a little sneak peek into this. Scrolling, listening to something, I can be busy in the dishes and all sorts of things, cleaning the house. But this morning I just went outside. I was feeling a little unsettled, and I just went and sat outside. The temptation was to pick up the phone and read or open my Bible and read. And I just sat there and listened to my voice in my head of what I was feeling. It wasn't anything major. I was just tired and I didn't quite plan my day well. So I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. And that's okay. Another reason people stay stuck is that they are waiting for clarity. And we've talked about this before, that clarity and momentum and motivation come through taking action. And that's why I encourage the small actions, because you take action, You gather some information, you learn from it, you make your next decision, whether you keep going on that path or you pivot and try something different. So taking those baby steps gives us information, and then we don't have to play the what if only, well, maybe. Ugh. How much time, I'm raising my hand because I'm talking to myself. I have spent so much time what ifing. Well, what if that happens? Oh my gosh, what if that, if I did that, oh, so that could possibly happen, only to come to when it really does, when I take the action and it turns out none of those things happened. So all of those minutes that I spent what ifing, none of it came true. So that's why I encourage us all to take a small action, gather some data. We have things to look at. We can make informed decisions. And the last one is they underestimate how much their identity has shifted. And when this one came, and I was just like, wow, how many have minimized the feelings and the impact of those kids moving out of the house? You've thought about it when they were 15, 16, maybe 13. I don't know when it started. And then all of a sudden, the house is empty. Or you've shifted into that new job and you were all excited, and then you're like, oh, now I'm a manager and ooh. Those are big changes. And if I've, honest again, I hope this is valuable for you guys because it's helping me. And I'm just sharing some of the stuff that I've learned along my journey. Um, yeah, it is a big deal. It is an identity shift. So I'm just going to see if I can do this real quick. I had these up here and then I took them down because I wanted to see you all. Which of these feels like it might be a reason why you're stuck at this moment? If you want to, you can comment. If maybe there's a different one. And I've had people telling me as they're in this group and some of the information that I'm sharing that they're not stuck, that these little checklists, these sessions, the posts are like, I'm in a good spot. And you know what? That's amazing. And for those of you who are in a great spot, who feel like you've got things locked in for now, I hope that you will drop comments and encourage others in our group so that they're not alone and know that they can get unstuck as well. So that's just my little encouragement to help everybody here. Oh, likely the shoulds, Heather says. Where is she stuck? The shoulds. Yeah, that's a tough one. I've had, they say don't should on yourself. I should do this. I should be better at this. I should have done that better. Oh, I should have been there when I should have been here, and all the shoulds. And for the shoulds, I like to ask the question as a coach, who is defining the should? If it's for in a work situation, for example, maybe you have a manager, a project manager, a people leader, or something that's giving you an assignment. And you should be working on that because the timeline is coming due. Very cool. Often for myself, the shoulds are pressures, timelines, restrictions, expectations that I put on myself. Can anyone relate to that? I hold myself to very high standards. I want to make sure I'm doing my best, that I'm serving my clients, that I'm, loving my husband, taking care of my cat, working in my community. And those are all self-imposed, and those sometimes can be the hardest to break. Who is behind the shoulds? Yes, that is a great question. And if the answer is me or yourself, me, I'm not behind your shoulds. Hopefully, I'm not behind your shoulds. But if the answer is yourself, then keep going a little bit deeper. Where did that come from? What happens if you don't? What happens if it's delayed? A friend from a previous employer, she called it the stroke moment or the heart attack moment. She goes, if X doesn't happen, is it a heart attack or a stroke moment? Will someone die? Now, in our line of work, where I did work, some things were pretty close to stroke moments, like we were having patient results that needed, interpretation. So some of that was, pretty important. But most often with the shoulds, it's really coming back to and owning, like we're doing right now, coming back to our identity. And if we're trying to, how do I say this? I had a lot of external, I thought they were external. Like I wanted to please my parents. I wanted to get good grades. I wanted to please, my coworker, my employers. I wanted promotions. I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to get picked for higher projects. And then somehow those wanting to please turned inward, and I wanted to please myself. And so it took a little bit of work, some questions and some journaling and some talking to my coaches that just remember you're one amazing human and we have support around us. We're not meant to do things in isolation. Our identity is our own. And when we can connect and align to it and realize what we are capable of and what we can carry with grace and not perfection, because that's never going to happen. So I had to let that one go. Then some of those shoulds and those self expectations can either dissolve or become lighter. And when you can clear away all the shoulds and get to the point of the I want tos and I get to, that's when things start popping and lighting up and little sparks. And it's like, oh, this is great because the I should do this, I should do this. It's really hard, I know for myself, to be positive when I'm like, I should do that. But when I get to, I choose to, I want to, it's empowering. And so I invite you all to play around with those phrases. And when we talk to ourselves, especially out loud, audibly, our brain hears us. And so part of transformation and in the coaching that I do is learning about the language and the words that we use and the words that we speak to ourselves. Have I ever heard of Emma Grady, entrepreneur and co-founder of Skims or Good American? Ooh, advocates for pursuing excellence over perfectionism as the key for success. I have not heard of her, but I'm going to look that up. Personal excellence. I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's very insightful. I love learning new things. And yes, excellence and improvement versus perfection. Way back when I was I took some classes to be a teacher. And I was learning about, I don't remember what the terminology was, but rather than letter grades, an A, B, C, D, kids were measured on improvement. And when you think about that, I was just, pursuing excellence. There's, you're pursuing that, of meaningful the pursuit meaningful pursuits, excuse me, is something that we all strive for. That's just the nature of human beings. So pursuing something, pursuing that excellence is the next level, just that next step forward. It doesn't have to be all that big thing. It's that little thing. And you're continuing to improve with excellence and moving forward. You don't want to go backwards and be kind of just a little bit moving forward. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So in this transition into our new chapter, whatever your new chapter happens to be, it can be a new job, can be retiring, can be empty nesting and retiring, can be all three, changing your job to be part-time, to do something that you want, leaving court, whatever. However, it doesn't have to be that big. The courage isn't, moving across country, launching a business, completely reinventing your life. It can be quieter, like taking a walk, trying a new class. Maybe you text a friend rather than waiting for them to text you first. Maybe it's saying, no, I don't want to go to that thing. That could be courage. And every time you do that, every time you choose yourself, it's a reinforcement of, I'm going to borrow that word, excellence. You're treating yourself with that excellence and that grace. Our time goes so quickly. Let me just check one thing here. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Oops, what am I doing? Okay. Couple of questions, and I'm just going to put them here. I've received feedback that it's nicer when I post these so that people can um, see them rather as I'm talking rather than writing frantically. You can screenshot this when we get done. Um, so as I calling this like your next chapter check-in, just a simple reflection, nothing complicated. I welcome your feedback of these sessions. You can DM me, you can send me an email or whatever, is this too much, too personal, you're pushing too fast, not enough, whatever. So these are just, I try and keep things basic. We have so much going on. We have so much information overload. I want to share information with you all because I have an experience and I hope that you guys can all progress faster than I did. It took me 8 and 9 years, and everybody's journey is on their own time cycle. So I tried to bring some simple questions, those moments for you to pause. So a notebook or on your phone, you can take a picture of this if you want these questions for later. What do you miss about who you used to be? So we're talking about re-entering and reconnecting to our identity. And um, one of the things that I used to be, and maybe some of this is age, and maybe it's also a little bit different because I've kind of shifted my focus of my career. But I used to be able to be really good at, like, I came from business analysis. So seeing process and seeing it as when it's not optimized and it's like a spaghetti map. And I could like see it in my head and like pull things out and make it more streamlined or find out where the gaps are and see those sorts of things. So I don't know what word I would put on that, what I used to be. Now it's harder. It's harder as and maybe it's the entrepreneur learning business stuff, which isn't where my initial career pursuits were. It wasn't so much on the business thing. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just learning new things. And so it's a little slower in the learning. That's what I maybe want to do more of. Well, part of me might be asking for some attention right now. Just a little precursor to next week. Next week, we're talking about fun and play. And um, that was a big one for me. Didn't realize it. I thought I was having fun. I thought I was playing. I had great friends. We would do fun things. But when I really tapped into the attention that I want, not the attention that I wanted, but the part of me that wanted the attention, it was really going ATV riding and getting completely dirty, completely from head to toe. So play and fun, Kids can get dirty, that's okay. Adults, we should stay clean, we should stay dressed, we should be optimized in that. And I was, I'm not going to go out in my suit or fancy clothes, but just the whole thing of head to toe, every mud puddle, I still hit them on my ATV when I can, just because I can. And we're going to keep taking those baby steps together. So, what is one small, honest step you can take this week as you move forward? Tomorrow's post with this, I'm going to encourage us to we're going to play bingo, kind of. Don't really have like whole bingo cards, but choose things that can make a pattern because bingo, I play bingo on Friday nights. I started that with my sister-in-law. I think I shared this in another meeting or was in a workshop. I don't know. It is so much fun. So much fun. So it's just small steps. Um, I'm calling it Courage Bingo. Again, there's no cards, but just think of some things that you can do over the coming week. Give yourself a little check. You can make a little simple bingo card or download one and put X's if you want to do the diagonal or the four corners. Do y'all remember the postage stamp bingo where you can any of the four corners, nothing in the middle, free square doesn't count. So, what feels doable? What feels fun? What feels a little courageous? I love it. Thank you for the thumbs up. I love bingo. Um, and so I'm going to keep encouraging you to take one small step. If, as we go through this, I'm a couple minutes over our time. I think the recording will probably still be 30 minutes. But if you can bear with me just a second, if any of this um, I've invited before, send me a DM, send me an email. I read all those. I list, voice messages, whatever. But if you ever wanted, I have 30 minutes. It's free. It's for you. Um, it's a coffee chat. And that's just, we can have coffee across Zoom. It's just if any of these topics are resonating or you want to know a little bit more or you want to, talk about something personal, all of them are confidential, so sharing in a public group might be a little intimidating, but I have a coffee chat and you don't even have to have anything figured out. You can just say, Connie, I'm really confused. I'm stuck. I don't know what my next step is. And so if you're interested in that, you can drop in the chat, drop in the comments, send me a DM, the word coffee, and I will send you the link, and then you can schedule that at a time that is most convenient for you. And so remember today that courage in this season, we want to flex that courage muscle, and it can just be a baby muscle that's being developed, but that's okay. Every little step, every act of courage, every step you make is forward progress. It gives you information to learn. It can be quiet. It can be something that nobody else sees. It's one small step. It's the moment of remembering, connecting back, one small quiet moment of pause. And as I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying, you are not behind. You are not broken. There is nothing to fix. You are an amazing human with incredible value. And I just want to help you live into that value, that spark, and that wonder that only you can bring into this world. So we're reconnecting with ourselves. We're moving into our next chapter. And this is a beautiful place to be. I thank you for taking the time to be with me today, Heather. And for those who watch this on the replay, drop in the replay, I watched it, or something you're taking away from this. And I will see you. Oops, let me do this. I don't know if you can see my face. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome.